I would rather keep it at we were strippers together.
I will too.
I know you'll know where we were when. I know you'll know where we were when.
Hello and welcome to Where We Were When, a podcast where we look back at our most memorable movie-going experiences and eat candy. I'm your host, Heidi Gardner, and I'm joined as always by my brother, Justin Gardner. Hi, Justin.
Hey, Heidi. What's going on?
Well, I'm really excited about the show tonight. Can I share with you why?
Of course.
This is the first time we've had a guest on who I have not worked with and I'm not married to.
I don't work with him either, nor am I married to him.
Yeah.
So
that's
both of us.
That's really cool. Our guest tonight is my college friend and now lifelong friend, Jack Berry. Hi, Jack.
Hi, guys. Hi, Heidi. Hi, Justin. Thank you guys for having me. I am married, but not to either of you.
That's so sweet.
I'm happy
feel
to be
like
here.
there was a point in my life where, as a friend, I wanted to marry you because I just love you so much.
We could have been. I mean, there was a time when we were talking all the time. My phone was blowing up. There was a time.
Oh my God, wait. I'm so wrong right now. I actually did work with you, Jack.
Oh, do we talk about that though?
When did you guys work together? When did you guys work together? Tell this story. This is a story. You have to tell this.
I didn't even catch that.
I didn't even catch it either. You know what? I don't know that we'll tell the story, but Jack and I worked together in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we were like kind of like friends on the fringe. Like we had like mutual friends and we were becoming friends. And then I worked with him. And then that's where we bonded. And
what is this like? What is this mystery job that you guys?
I mean,
it's what I like to call a less than savory job. I don't know.
Yes.
Did you guys strip? Like, what is going on here? Like,
I would rather. I know. I would rather keep it at we were strippers together.
I will too.
Okay.
So you guys worked at a gentleman's
We worked
club.
hard for our money. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah. Like you guys would have bonded big time.
Yeah.
We definitely did.
Bonded big time. And Jack, you're not what the biz calls an industry peep now. You're our first non-industry peep. Will you tell the audience what you do for work?
I can. I work for a large bank, so a rather basic job. So I'm not in the industry. I'm not in entertainment whatsoever. I'm really here because we're friends, and it's my honor.
Well, you're also here because you were so nice. Because I texted you and I was like, on this episode, my brother and I are going to talk about a particular movie that we very much need your input on.
I do feel fluent in some of the topics that you told me about, so I jumped at the chance to share some of my knowledge. So yeah, I'm ready for that for sure. I might be an expert in this topic.
Yeah, so folks, this episode's a little different because usually the guest gets to like talk about whatever movie they want, but in this case, we told Jack what he had to talk about.
Right.
Yeah. But it's good. This is a good one. This is a good one, obviously. Like,
yes,
it's a classic. Yeah.
It's a classic. We're going to talk candy first. Did you guys get what I sent you?
I did.
Oh, yes.
I did. I got a package. And hold on.
Happens to be one of my faves, so this was on the nose.
Sour Patch
Hello.
Kids.
Hello.
Sour Patch. I have to order in bulk.
Yeah.
Knocked
3
it out of the park.
boxes.
3 boxes of Sour Patch Kids. Like, I feel, and I eat, here's the thing. Here's the problem. I eat all the candy eventually. So, You send me 3 of these, but I never eat candy. And I think I've gained like 5 pounds since we started recording these episodes. But that's okay. That's okay. It's
And
amazing.
you know my tendency too. I mean, I message you about this frequently. My nonstop kind of problem with candies and things like that. Now, this 3 box, you know, is a can of worms.
No. I know.
She's not making life any easier.
I get texts a lot of Jack standing in the candy aisle at the grocery store taking a picture like, did you know sour mamba existed? And he's always asking, and there's another one of our friends, Jenny. He's always asking us if we've tried it, if he should buy it. And then it always ends with him buying it and then like caking it all in the parking lot. Like
either eating it in the parking lot or I'll be like, I walked away. I'm out. I didn't do it.
Yeah. Yesterday you texted us about Little Debbie cakes.
Yeah.
And you walked away.
Thank God. You really you can't overdo those.
No. But Sour Patch Kids. So Jack, because I feel like we've texted about Sour Patch. This is one of your favorites?
100%. Now, full disclosure, the watermelon Sour Patch are superior to the regular Sour Patch. I love love the Sour Patch.
That's a given. It's a given.
It's not a given to everybody because it's caused a lot of fights in my life.
No, I've had serious debates about the watermelon versus the traditional.
Yeah. And of course, the like main point that every truist to Sour Patch Kids has is that the problem with watermelon is that you only get watermelon, whereas with Sour Patch you get 5 flavors.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I don't know whether or not this is because these were in the sun, but I feel like like they're in my car. I feel like the watermelons are a little bit like thicker, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're a little chewier. That's another thing too. You have to like the fact that like they're drier and they're thinner, so you can mow through these. Where the watermelon ones, they've got a little bit more meat to them.
Yeah, these are canker sore makers, you know.
Mm-hmm. These are top of the mouth roof bleeders.
Mm-hmm. No stopping.
Jack, what's your favorite flavor of Sour Patch?
I'm gonna say blue raz, but I always go for blue raz. Like I love blue raspberry everything. The generic flavor.
I don't love blue raspberry everything, but I love blue raspberry Sour Patch. And this is going to be a weird question, but is blue raspberry a kind of newer flavor? Or has it always been in it?
You know, when I open
blue
the
raspberry's
box,
been around for a long time, though. You know, it might be a new flavor.
Yeah, I mean, it might. I don't know. I mean, blue raz is certainly an old flavor, but when I opened the box, they did stand out to me in a little. I've been buying the watermelons for so long. It's actually been a while since I've had the Tradish.
Because I feel like the Tradish was just red, orange, yellow, and green for a long time. I don't know. And then I didn't order myself a 3-pack. I just went to the store and got some, and I have a mystery flavor in here.
Oh, well.
Really?
Thanks.
Will you be able to determine? Sometimes I wonder if I actually can decipher.
Is it pineapple? Or is it just they just didn't put dye in one?
Kind of. It's like kind of just sweet.
Yeah.
Is the flavor.
Oh. I have some candy trivia. Okay. I have some candy trivia. Right.
Okay.
Related-ish. It's about mystery flavors. So, you guys know the lollipop dum-dums, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, little tiny lollipops. Mystery flavor, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know why they have the mystery flavor?
No.
Wow.
Okay. It's because when they make the lollipops and they make the sugar, you know, the sugar solution, the mystery flavor is where it overlaps because they don't want to just put like one flavor on and they don't want to stop the machine from making lollipops. So they put the 2 ends together and they just batch up the combo of the 2 flavors as the mystery flavor. So that's why you can never figure it out because it's actually a combo of the 2 flavors.
So it is a mystery. You don't know.
It's for efficiency. And it was just like, well, can you just imagine that conversation too? It's like, well, we'll just call it mystery flavor and they'll fucking eat it. Like,
right. You think it was like,
they'll love it. They'll love it. It'd be like, okay, John, well, I mean, if this doesn't work out, you could be the end of dum-dums.
Seriously, though, I thought it was like a marketing ploy rather than just an efficiency thing.
It's an efficiency thing. It's because of efficiency. It's because of them not wanting to shut off the machine and load on another type of sugary substance.
That's wild.
Well,
Discovery Channel.
It's worked for Dum Dum. I don't think it's working for Sour Patch. The mystery flavor is bland. It's bland for a Sour Patch.
I wonder if we did a blind taste test, if I could actually determine all of the flavors, because some of them are very similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just did a blind taste test with Trolley sour worms.
Impossible.
To guess them?
Yeah. They're the same.
No.
Really?
They're different.
Refined palate. Wow.
Jack, I'm gonna have to agree with her.
Okay, I'm gonna have to try this.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm glad that Sour Patch was a hit with the boys and me. Which I think leads us in to our first Where We Were When movie pick. I think we can all agree this movie is insane. It's a hell of a watch. It's Return to Oz. Jack, where were you when you first saw Return to Oz?
I thought about this because obviously you told me the topic in advance and I jumped at it because my thoughts on this movie.
I did.
Pinning it down to like exact is really hard. So what I tried to do was get the essence of probably what was going on and where I saw it. I wish I could find the exact date and time, but I'm going to guess it was probably 1992.
Yes.
I did not see it in theaters or anything like that.
Okay.
It probably slipped under the radar, frankly, from my parents' like very, very, very strict policy on what we're able to watch. Like nothing. We couldn't watch anything. And because it had the Disney banner, it slides right in as something that seems like, oh, Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, which was what we watched exclusively at my grandparents' house. So yeah, it was 1992. It was a rental. Probably from Roscoe's Video in Waldo, right by where I grew up. And
hold on, Roscoe's Video.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Roscoe's Video. It sounds exactly as elegant as the name suggests.
Roscoe's TV Video. They sold TVs too, big ones.
Yes.
Do you guys remember Roscoe's on Warnell? Okay, good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think I went to Roscoe's much. I remember like passing it by, but I don't even know.
You probably went to SRO. It's like very cool.
Well, right. I only went to SRO when I became friends with people who lived in Brookside. But like, you know, I was not an SRO girl like from the get or anything.
Right.
Like
I went to SRO.
Yes,
because
very
it was
cool.
SRO and it was Video Mania and it was Valentine Video. Like
Mhm.
those were like the three, and Tivoli Video. Those were like the 3 to 4 like really, really cool
Ultra
video
chic,
stores.
yeah.
And I will tell you what wasn't a cool video store was Roscoe's Video and TV.
I know. I know.
Like,
It's
that
been a
was not
staple
what-
in Waldo though forever.
That was not in the mix, of, like,
It
that didn't
wasn't.
have a that selection. But Jack, do you remember? And I'm trying to remember. Do you remember the box for Return to Oz?
I do. So Roscoe's had it, and obviously they just had the
Mhm.
one. They did not have multiples of Return to Oz. This
Right.
was in. I think
Yeah.
it was like in the horror section. Frankly, I mean, who knows, right? I don't even
Roscoe's
Should
Video
be.
had Well, Roscoe's
Right.
video had about, I think it was about 17 VHS copies total, right? Like it was just like it was
Right.
a fairly small, weird conglomeration. It wasn't a blockbuster, right?
No, not at all. You
No,
were
it was
lucky to get
tiny.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were lucky to get it. And I'm sure we rented it for a night or whatever. And I mean, if memory serves me, I watched it and I was horrified of like it was immediately
were.
scary.
It's immediately.
It's immediately eerie and scary. So it like, and I was a scared kid a lot. I was scared all the time. So to
And you-
me, it
Sorry,
caught
you would have
me.
been 10 years old, right?
Yeah, 10 or 11, right?
Okay.
I was in 1981, so I was 11.
Okay.
Gosh, it's insane. Fairuza Balk as Dorothy gets electroshock therapy within the first like 2 minutes of the movie.
It's in almost the opening scene. They're like, "Listen, Dorothy, your story about Oz is nuts. We're checking you in to the asylum." Like, yeah, it's cringe. And she and her aunt, they think it's some great idea that she'll finally get some sleep because she hasn't been sleeping since she got back from Oz the first time. So she's like cracked out.
And yeah, you're probably scared because she's probably 10 or 11 in the movie, like same age as you. Like,
Yeah.
you're probably thinking this is possible. Like, kids our age can go to insane asylums.
Yes.
Fairuza Balk is noticeably younger
Yes.
than Judy
Yes.
Garland.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was
like she is
striking.
a child versus Judy Garland, who on retrospect is like, you might be like in your early 20s, but you just look young. Fairuza Balk is like, she looks like she's 9.
I
Like,
had a hard
legit
time
9.
reconciling that. Yeah, where I'm
Yeah,
like,
there's
even as a
there
child,
is
I'm
no
like,
reconciling that.
That's fake. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then doesn't it? Okay, so Jack, you were in 1992.
Mhm.
Somehow this film was fully not on my radar. Justin, we never watched it together. It was one that like
No.
I don't ever actually remember seeing it at Blockbuster or Hy-Vee. Like,
It was a one copy movie at any store, even Blockbuster, I think.
yes, for sure. So
Yeah.
I never saw it. And then Jack, when we became good friends in college, I feel like we were just kind of talking. We like kind of had the same flow movie wise. We'd seen all the same things, loved the same things, Waiting for Guffman, Steel Magnolias. And then you pulled out this wild card one night where you're just like, oh, and Return to Oz. And I was like, what? And it was like, you were so excited. You're like, you haven't seen Return to Oz. Like you had this gift to give me basically.
I didn't even know it was like a cult classic until much later, probably until The Craft came out. And I'm like, whoa, that's Dorothy from Return to Oz. I hadn't seen her since. And then when The Craft came out, it came back to me and I rewatched it then.
Yeah.
And it is beyond insane the second time around.
I think Disney covered it up, right? Like
Probably.
they had this movie, and you know why this movie got made is because they had the rights to the Oz movies and they needed to make one. And so Walter Murch was this famous editor and sound guy, and they said, and he had never directed a movie before it. He's like, hey, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And he was like, I want to do an Oz movie. And so this was the result, and they were like, okay, well, thanks, Walter. We appreciate the movie. And then Walter Murch never directed a movie again. So but it's not a bad movie. It's just,
no, it's fabulous.
It's terrifying. And apparently, here's the other crazy thing about it. The books are apparently like quite violent and weird, like this movie. So he is being extremely close to the source material. So this is what actually reading an Oz book is like as a child. These were children's books. And this is what Frank L. Baum was writing back in the day.
That probably makes more sense. I always thought it was just completely made up. Like somebody was like, let's take this show off the rails and just like way off the rails.
Well, what
That's what
drugs
it's-
was Frank L. Baum doing? The Wheelers are in the books.
Really?
So those things are in the books, and there's illustrations of them, and in the movie they look like what was in the books. I mean, it is that
I had
close.
no idea.
And
The Wheelers are real.
Isn't it basically in the movie we go from that horrifying asylum scene basically right to the Wheelers?
Right to the Wheelers.
Oh, right away.
Right to the Wheelers.
She shows up. I mean, do listeners need a little recap of this? I mean,
Yes.
she
Please,
shows
yes,
up.
yes.
She shows up. She goes back to Oz after being locked in an insane asylum to get electroshock therapy to get the idea of Oz out of her mind. She gets back somehow. It's a long story. And when she's there, she's come to find out that Oz has been completely taken over by the Gnome King, who is a man who collects antiques, nice antiques. He has ruby slippers and has destroyed the whole place. And she's in there to get Oz back and turned everyone to stone and trashed the Yellow Brick Road, taken all of the emeralds from Emerald City. And the Wheelers are there, and it's run by this Mombi person who has stolen everyone's heads. She changes her head out every day. I mean,
She has a
absolutely
closet.
bizarre.
She has a closet full of heads.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so if you're rolling into this movie having seen Wizard of Oz and expecting anything from Oz, I mean, the second you even hear Gnome King, like, I know that there's like a Tin Man and a lion, a cowardly lion in Wizard of Oz, and that's weird enough, and flying monkeys. But Gnome King is not in the same world as those things.
The Deadly Desert. And she said, I knew about it because we flew over it the first time. I'm like, what?
No,
This is
no.
nuts.
You're on
making
like
it
a
up.
different continent or planet. And then, okay, so then Dorothy has her like crew of, Tin Man, Cowardly Lion, Scarecrow. But again, off the rails. What this
They're
man-
not the same at all.
No. Jack, do you want
Well,
to
but,
share what? or
What's
go
what's
ahead,
the
Jack.
what's the thing that what is the flying thing,
The
right?
gump.
Like that. The
Oh,
gum.
the gum, the sofa. It's made out of antiques. And Mombi even says she stole the antiques and that's why she's here. It's so bizarre.
And it's like a moose head and a sofa and wings, pretty much, right?
Yeah. And it's as weird as this whole conversation sounds, frankly. Like, I'm thinking about how this is going to come across, and anybody listening is going to be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But it's all real. So Dorothy's got, let's just say that the gump is like the equivalent of the lion, or maybe. And then the equivalent, I guess, of the scarecrow is Jack.
TikTok?
The
Oh, Jack the Pumpkinhead. Yeah.
maybe.
Mom. Yeah. Yeah.
Who is like just the skinniest little rail with a giant pumpkin head. Again, that's not Oz to me at all.
And he's scary.
Totally scary. And he's like very needy.
It's very scary.
And then, oh my God, I forgot about TikTok, Jack.
The Army of Oz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, TikTok,
TikTok
I think
kinda
spelled
sucks.
like, but I think that he actually is spelled like the app, TikTok. Like that's
Yeah.
Oh,
he
so
is.
that's where
It
the
is
app
spelled
came
the
from.
same. Yeah.
I literally think that they like that just got into somebody's head, But
This
yeah, it's
movie birthed
TIK,
so
TOK.
much.
Oh, that's cool to hear.
Yeah.
And then is Belina also part of Dorothy's crew, or is she pure Mombi?
No, Belina is part of Dorothy's crew. I always put her in the Toto role. So she came in
Right.
as a Toto, but a talking Toto, where if this all adds up, Toto should have been talking then in the first Oz, because they basically say, everybody in Oz can talk, all animals. So
And
calling
she's
bullshit
fully
on
not
that.
a dog. She's a
She's a hen. She's a hen from Kansas.
I can't.
I know.
It's so stupid.
And she's a
This-
sassy hen. She's a sassy,
Yeah.
sassy, opinionated hen. You know,
This momby's some housekeeper. You know, I mean, that line was like killed me when they walked in.
Oh my God. And also that scene when they walk into Mombies, who is the villain, they're sneaking in. They need to be quiet. Belina's mouthing off, like making comments about the housekeeping. And then Jack do the pumpkin head part. What Jack does.
Mom, can I call you mom?
Even if it
Mom,
isn't so.
even if it isn't so.
And
Yes,
Dorothy,
God.
Dorothy, who's like 9 years old, like looks back, like, and gives him the look like, we are sneaking around in here. Shut the fuck up.
Yes.
She's like so annoyed.
And
Just,
TikTok stomping around. I mean, it's bizarre.
it is a fucking fever dream of a nightmare movie.
And I try to.
It doesn't make sense, and it's got claymation too. That's the other thing. It's got the Gnome King is claymation as well. So, and it's a creepy claymation. It's not like the cool claymation. It's the type of like where somebody was like, we're gonna fucking, like make these kids cry. Like it's just this really like gloopy fucking claymation. That's like, like, and I don't understand how anybody made that movie and didn't get the fact that it was going to just like manifestly change children's lives, like nightmares, on repeat.
It is. And I've told people about the Gnome King and like the whole story who haven't seen it. And I think I told you this, Heidi. I'm like, get this. This is a man who wears ruby slippers that slide in and out of his concrete dress to show off. And he collects antiques. I mean, he has a gallery of like Liberace style, like fabulous things. And he's like, this is part of my collection. This is what I do. I collect things and I've trashed the city and I started a gallery. It's just bizarre.
That's my favorite part is that somehow he just totally trashed Oz. Like, even though he cares, he obviously cares about antiquities.
He likes nice
and
things.
history.
Right.
He trashed Oz. It was Justin. Where did you see it? Do you remember?
I had to see it on cable.
Okay.
Like it was one of those, I think it was like one of those, like, I almost guarantee it was a TNT or TBS movie. Right. And so I didn't see it straight through. It was with commercials.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, like you're just like glued to the set. Like, what is this? Like, this is, like the commercials can't go by fast enough. And then eventually, I think I did see it in the theater. I think I saw like a screening of it. Like, and it is just wall to wall, batshit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm coming up in my mind, I'm building a theory about it. And my theory is, I bet the kids that did see it, saw it, were horrified, did not tell their friends about it because it was like they either turned it off or was like, what did I just watch? And then Jack, like you, probably like 10 years later had some like, we're reminded of the actress Fairuza Balk in The Craft. And then we're like, where did I see that face? Oh my God. And then it was like PTSD, like, oh, this movie. And then you have to look it up. One of those movies where you're like, did that exist?
Yes.
And so, that's what I think happened.
That's exactly what happened to me.
That's If Fairuza Balk had not reemerged, I think Return to Oz would have been lost forever. But those eyes, like her eyes, you cannot forget her eyes. They're just like, it
was
so
unmistakable.
Piercing.
Yeah. And I had never seen her before when she came out to The Craft, which I liked The Craft. It was like, we could talk about that another day, but she came out in The Craft and I was like, what? And I hadn't thought about that movie at all. And we watched it several times as kids, but like, it wasn't necessarily a staple only later after The Craft, when I was still pretty young, did I rewatch the movie several times. I quote it often.
And when's the last time you watched it?
I'd say it has to be in the past 4 years.
Well, you have nieces and nephews now, so at some point you're
Yeah.
gonna.
I've thrown it out there.
You gotta
I've thrown
pass
it out
that
there.
on.
It's too scary, I think, for some of these kids. My nieces and nephews would be too scared at this point. I mean, it's very scary. It's very dark.
How old are they? How old are they?
I mean, the oldest is probably 11, so maybe they're ready. But the
I
little
think that
kids,
right in that sweet spot of like, that's when kids are like, ooh, like they want, like, that's when you start to read the Goosebumps. And yeah, I would say that like, this
It's
is
time.
the time to like introduce. Yeah, it's time. It's time.
it's time.
A little light movie trauma
Uh-huh.
is good for them.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody listening, if you haven't seen it, it's a fun watch.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, it's a mind-blowing movie, I think. It's one of those movies that you cannot anticipate what's going to happen next. It's completely ridiculous and super scary. And then if you put your head in the mindset that this is a Disney movie for children, I think it makes it even better. You're like,
it is a Disney film. That is just, it still doesn't sound right.
I love how, and it's also awesome that it got past your parents, Jack, because of the Disney logo. Like, what a
Oh, yeah,
great thing
right.
to happen to a kid.
oh, it's Wizard of Oz is like a romance. We romance that movie, and we're from Kansas. I mean, I'm from Kansas City, which most people think is Kansas, so we
Yeah.
are basically married to this movie and all the jokes or whatever. Wizard of Oz, the first one,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you both can relate, but
Yes.
so it was a no-brainer to be like, oh, well, we'll rent this one and just, oh, that's fun. Dorothy. Oh yeah, Dorothy gets the gang back together. Yeah, right. She gets admitted to an insane asylum and gets electroshock.
Justin, didn't you find out something insane about the claymation part of it? Or interesting?
Yeah.
Maybe not insane.
Yeah. So the same director who did the guy who did the claymation sequences was the same director of, I would argue, an equally creepy movie, which is the Adventures of Mark Twain, or what was the
Yeah.
yeah.
The Adventures of Mark Twain and Haley's Comet or
Oh yeah.
Galileo.
Yes. Okay. So it was that creepy claymation Mark Twain movie
And Jack,
that
do
came
you
out
kind of know what we're talking
around the same
about?
time.
It sounds very familiar, but like the details are escaping me.
Yeah.
So Mark Twain. Okay, so it's Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer, Becky Thatcher, all hitch a ride on this Zeppelin with Mark Twain as they travel to the moon or the sun. It's like they go into outer space basically,
Mhm.
and they're trying. No, actually, they're going to Haley's Comet. Exactly. So they're going to Haley's Comet because he's going to meet Haley's Comet, and then this is basically all just a big allegory for death. And that's another one of those just like, whoa, like somebody convinced somebody to give them millions of dollars to do this. And it is like some like existential shit for like 11-year-old, like there's some heavy questions and heavy like themes in that film. So, but the same guy who did the Gnome King, that guy,
Okay.
he then went on to make it. And it was just like, it was like a year after. It was like very, very soon after. So he must have been working on them kind of around the same time.
Well, that movie, the Mark Twain one, is a different type of Where We Were When that we haven't talked about, where the only place I remember you could get that movie was the library. I always saw it at the library. And we didn't check out a lot of movies from the library, but
very rarely.
But our school did. Like, so it's a library movie. So anybody who had a library card.
It was weird. Yeah. But it did come out in theaters. I did check that. It came out in theaters and it made a little bit of money. But yeah, it was another one that just sort of vanished, and I wonder if it was just because like somebody higher up at Blockbuster was like, no.
Were there any famous like voice
We're not
actors
buying
that
this.
could bring it back from the dead, that are now famous?
Oh man, I'm sure if
I'd have to look at
I'm
the
sure if
cast.
they wanted to.
Yeah.
But I don't. But you're talking about the Fairuza Balk effect.
Yes,
I do-
exactly.
I do not. I don't think so. I don't think that's how it worked. But I'm glad that you brought that back around.
Turns
That's a good
out
one.
it was Parker Posey was,
Right.
Becky Thatcher.
Parker Posey was Mark
she was Becky
Twain.
Thatcher.
You know what? This is just because I said library. You know what was another really weird thing you could check out at the library? Michelle and I would do this a lot. You had to go to the desk because it wasn't just like you couldn't just like grab it yourself. Do you guys remember there was a book of celebrity addresses they had at the
No.
library? Yeah.
No.
So we could.
That sounds like you.
Obviously, it was like PO boxes and stuff, but we would
Okay.
be like, we would always go up and we'd be like, "Can we have the celebrity address book?" And the librarian was always like, "Yes," or someone else has it already, and then we'd kind of like look around the library to see who had it. But then we would just like take down, and then on our notebooks when we were supposed to be like researching reports and stuff, we would just be writing down. Like at the time, we were obsessed with tennis players, so we were writing down like Andre Agassi and Michael Chang's
I remember
addresses.
that.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
remember that.
Did you write letters?
Yes, because we were doing an auction at school, to raise money for like the World Wildlife Fund or something. And so we would write to celebrities and ask them to send things that we could auction off. And
Oh, of course.
the Gap sent a $20 gift card.
Whoa.
Michael Chang sent a Reed poster autographed. And I wrote to Janet Jackson and did not get anything back.
Ooh.
I can envision the two of you sitting there being like, and here's what we'll ask, and here's what we'll write. And I can imagine getting those few answers back and then just shooting for the moon. Janet Jackson,
Yes.
let's do it.
Yes. And also losing our minds because we'd write these letters and then at the like beginning of the school day, we'd be in the classroom and like the secretary, the receptionist at the school would come into our fourth grade classroom and be like, "Heidi and Michelle, you've got mail." And we were like,
God.
"Oh my God, it's a celebrity."
No. That's
And then
so
people
good.
were like, "What is it?" Because we got some other good stuff. I just can't recall what it was. But I ended up I bought the $20 Gap gift card and got like a pair of espadrilles, and so it's pretty cool.
That's really
I
good.
never knew
I've never
that.
heard that story.
I never knew that. That's a charming little story.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Now speaking of shopping and the Gap,
Mhm.
our next little segment that I wanted to talk about, because we all grew up in Kansas City. We all grew up watching movies. I just thought like a really good place to talk about where we probably all saw a lot of movies was Ward Parkway Mall.
Oh,
All movies.
yeah.
All movies in
movies.
my I mean, I went there other the Tivoli for art movies when I was younger, but other than that, it was Ward Parkway for me.
It was
We didn't
fully
go
Ward
anywhere else.
Parkway because this was a mall that typically, I mean, Justin, you were a little older, so if I went to the movie with you, you could drive us to the movie. But otherwise, if I was spending the night at a friend's house, you would get dropped at the mall with your friend with $20. I mean, if you're lucky, $20 to buy your ticket to the movie, concessions, and like maybe a book at Walden Books, or like you might have a little spending money left over.
Spending money for Aladdin's castle.
Yes.
That's where
So
we
there-
got dropped off.
Yes. So there was the most amazing arcade in the world right next to Ward Parkway movie theaters. Did you ever have a birthday party there?
No,
I didn't either.
I didn't. But I saw
kn-
them and I pined for them.
I know, but I've never been in, I mean, it's closed now, but I've never been in the birthday party room. Only saw it through the glass.
Right. I was the kid that you would look at it and just be like, wow. And they'd have those kids would have unlimited quarters or something like insane.
Yes,
Well,
because
so not quarters. Remember, Aladdin's castle had tokens.
Tokens. That's
Mhm.
Right? And so
That's right.
I wanted to talk about the tokens. I'm going to let you finish, but
Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
wasn't it inside of Ward Parkway? Why did you like walked into the entrance
Right
for the
away.
theater? Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
That
just
was
like
the
right
meetup
there. You
spot.
walk there,
Yeah.
right there, and then
Yeah.
around the corner was
Yes.
yeah.
And it was. Wait, what was I gonna say about it? Yeah, I mean, I never really even barely went into like the video game part of it. I mean, for me, it was like all skee ball. It was all that mining gold game, that miners gold.
Right.
You get a lot of tickets on that. There was Big Mama. Do you guys remember?
No.
No. Big Mama.
Not at all.
Big Mama was just this like big like puppet with a huge mouth that you would throw balls in her mouth and feed her.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, yeah.
right. Well, okay, so
In the back.
no, let's
Yeah.
talk about that
And
real quick.
and
though.
Bozo the Clown with the buckets. That was big.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because there was like 6 buckets because that was like the same thing that he would do on the TV show, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, but a little bit of like gender difference here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you would go into Aladdin's castle, what would you make a beeline for? Was it Big Mama? Was it Bozo? Did you play video games? Did you like care about the video games?
I didn't care about the big video games. I cared about Bozo, Papa Shot, Skee Ball. And then once they got the game where you follow the light and then you hit it and you try to time it, like
Yeah,
right with
maybe
the,
you can
the
like
one where
win
you
a
could
prize.
get 100 tickets. Once that
Mhm.
came
Okay.
along, it was that game.
Right. Oh, right. Because it would do this, and you just had to like hit it, and like you
Yes.
had to get like the top
And catch
one.
the
Right.
moment. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
That's the
you
only way to
wanted
get a lot.
you wanted to basically go into Aladdin's castle and come out with some gear, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I obviously played video games, right? But at a certain, like, I'm not really a gamer, right? So I definitely gravitated towards the stuff because I'm like, if I'm gonna, spend some money, I want to get some shit back, right? The gear inside of these video game palaces, the tickets, how many tickets you would need, how much money you would have to spend. Like, I'm sure I did the math at some point, but like a remote controlled car probably cost like the equivalent of like $2,000 in these fucking tickets.
Yeah. Nobody
You
has
know?
nobody ever bought that.
Nobody's
remote
ever
control
won it.
car.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like somebody was just like, no, you are not going to spend that much money. Cause it was like 100,000 tickets or something crazy. Right.
Yeah.
But like, do you
Mhm.
remember the gear that you would get? Do you remember the type of stuff that you would get? Like when you would go in and like cash in your tickets?
I remember thinking about those huge items. I feel like they did that deliberately to incite dreams inside children's minds. They knew it wasn't even possible. And I would see that and be like, maybe someday that'll be me. But you couldn't even buy enough
know.
tokens to do it.
Really? Yeah. Like how
I mean, it
how
was
were you going to win
impossible.
that much?
It was
Like, you
a
would have had to be
gimmick.
like-
And also you had to be a kid who was also like very disciplined, who could also leave without turning in their tickets and go home and save them, which was like
multiple
not
days.
impossible.
happening. I
Yeah,
had to
multiple
leave.
visits.
So the most I ever walked out of there with was like 3, like Smarties packs, probably like a ring, the
Yeah,
like
I was gonna say
splat
ring.
hand. I mean, just garbage, just a bouncy ball.
Just garbage and or candy, right? Like
Yeah.
that was a nice feature, right? They had candy, right? But mostly garbage. And like you would add it all up and you just spend $20,000 or 20 bucks for like something that probably cost 20 cents.
But this was the
But
thing.
you,
If you were,
but you still kind of loved it though, right? I mean, like you still
Oh,
like
my-
think that you think that you accomplished something by like doing that, right? Like you got more of your money out of it.
Yes. And just like try to find me an arcade with a better name. In my opinion, Aladdin's Castle is like,
Perfect.
it's perfect.
It was perfect. I wax nostalgic on it, and like I was never a gamer either, Justin. And I think I was more of a voyeur than an actual like player on any of these games. I would go in and I would just like
yeah.
oogle and ogle over
Right.
somebody who was really good. And you know how the kids would like
know.
gather around somebody who was like getting the high score and like getting the tickets. I was more of like a dreamer where I'd watch these people be like, wow, maybe they'll get the remote control car. I remember that remote control car. I like to think that is true. You might have just implanted it in my brain, but now I can see it. You know,
I'm
like,
sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
how
you're-
cool.
You're Aladdin's Castle corporate headquarters, right? And you're thinking of like what a kid would want and dream for.
That's
A
what I
remote
wanted.
control car. I guarantee you that was there. Guarantee it, right? Like that
It
was
200.
I'm not implanting anything, you know, like you saw it. You saw it.
I did.
I can't even remember because it only happened one night only, but at some point when I was doing when I was part of the groundlings and I was like trying out a new sketch one night and it was based on Aladdin's Castle and I was playing some like older woman who was like cashing in some kids' tickets or something. And I wanted the set. It was like really prop heavy because I was like, I want to have all baskets of all that shit, all the candy, all the like, I'd ordered all of that stuff like in bulk. So I had these like baskets that were this big full of all that shit. And I was walking out in the dark, you know, because we get this stage set in the dark with all of those baskets. And I was trying to put them on whatever my like, countertop was. And in the dark, I spilled everything. And
Oh my
was
god.
probably like 500 just little tchotchkes scattered everywhere.
Ugh.
And the stage manager would always check and be like, "Are you set?" You know, and you was just kind of like they. And I remember just I whispered to him, I was like, "I dropped all of it." So usually those little scene changes, the guys are so fast, so it's supposed to, and I'm sure he even offered like, do you want me to help carry one of those 20 little baskets full of shit?
Oh.
And I was like, no, I got it. And usually they can like change over a set in like 30 seconds, and I think that scene change was probably 3 minutes. And then the sketch, so like we got everything back in the baskets, we reset it, and then the sketch bombed so bad. It was just horrible.
Oh, that's amazing.
I haven't thought of that in forever.
And come to find out, I mean, if you're from Kansas City too, you know, like at one point or another, you made it to US Toy. And so if you ever made it there, cat's out of the bag. It's like pulling the curtains back and you're like, this is all 10 cents. Like we can get 6 of these things for nothing. I have the amount of money for my lemonade stand, you know, like it's all there. All the jobs.
The bulk toy store that all of the pizza places, you know, would go to get their garbage. Yeah. Yeah. It was,
you know what?
It was a toy store, but it wasn't a toy store, right? Like it was it was weird.
It was also like a teacher's aid kind of.
Yeah.
Like
that's what it was. There.
Shame on US Toy because they were stupid. They should never, it should actually be something where you card at the door. Like you should be 18 and over. Like they should not let little kids in. Like that's bad for business for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice
like seeing who's behind the curtain in Oz.
Exactly. But Ward Parkway, so like, I mean, this was why Ward Parkway was so incredible. I mean, you walk in and immediately there's Aladdin's Castle. Granted, it was across from Montgomery Wards, which who cares when you're a kid,
right?
But you turn the corner and then there's Ward Parkway Theaters. You buy your ticket, but you probably still have like 30 more minutes before the movie starts. Does everybody remember when you go down the escalator, what's right there?
100%. I mean, that's where we hit first. You don't go to concessions. You go to Mr. Bulky.
Mr. Bulky's, which was the candy store, everyone's favorite candy store. Everyone had one.
It's out of a dream.
Out of a dream.
They did it right.
They did it right. You immediately walk in and, yep, there's the Coke icy machine, Coke and cherry, right off the bat.
Well, but let's talk about how crazy it was, okay? And it's kind of funny because AMC theaters. This was an AMC theater, right? And it actually, the Ward Parkway was the first twin dual screen theater in North America. Like,
Damn.
and that's like,
Wow.
yeah, that's like a real deal, right? They had one big theater, and then they just cut it in half to make
Whoa.
two. That was an innovation because everything was one screen back in the day. So,
Wow.
you know, it's like twice as much stuff. For years, how do movie theaters make their money, right? They make some money off of ticket sales, but they mostly make it off of the popcorn and blah 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 blah. AMC theaters for decades just let you bring in whatever the fuck you wanted.
Like, didn't we have to be
Yeah.
sneaky? Or at least I felt like
No.
I did. I was like,
No,
I
it
thought-
was a
I always
That
thought
policy.
came
we did.
later. That
No,
came-
yeah. It was a policy. I used to work for AMC theaters in
That's
the corporate
right.
office, and there was a guy. There was this one CEO. His name was Jerry Lopez, and the moment he learned that people could bring in outside food, he was like, "What in the fuck are you people doing? Like
Right.
you were in the." You're in the movie business, but you are a restaurant, right? Like it's like you're like at Applebee's and you let people like bring in a pizza. Like what the fuck is your problem? Of course you guys aren't making as much money. And like after that, it all got shut off. Obviously they wouldn't like, you know,
You didn't
search
get
you.
frisked. No.
No, you didn't get frisked. But like there are some theaters now because like every single other one did it. Cinemark, Regal, all of them did it after that. And they won't let you bring in like a backpack or like a certain, you know, sized purse anymore because like it has to like fit. It's like, you know, at the airport, you know, when like taking the luggage onto the plane, it can only be so big because they're like, you're bringing some shit in. We know
Mhm.
we're not going to frisk you, but we know. But yeah, like you could just go downstairs and bring in a fucking icy.
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
you could just
And a
Bring it in.
giant bag full of candy, like a grocery sack that
Yeah.
was about like thinner than saran wrap to hold like a boatload of candy.
No, it was
I
all see-through. You bought
Yeah,
it in
it's all
bulk. Yeah,
see-through.
it's like that was the point. That was the point. You saw this like massive thing. It was like a pound of candy.
My worst moment ever of bringing in food, I was with Paula Heschmeyer, and we were with guys that we wanted to impress, and we rolled down to Bulky's. We got two large ices, Coke cherry, a piece. So I was
Mhm.
like double fisting. But then the food court at the time, there were these really good lo mein noodles at the food court Chinese little restaurant. I
Mhm.
got the noodles, the lo mein, and then there was this really good yogurt place down there. It wasn't TCBY, but they had this like
Mm-mm.
raspberry peach yogurt. I got that. And then so I had two ices, lo mein noodles, frozen yogurt, and then I was like,
What?
oh, I forgot tear jerkers. So I went back to Bulky's, doubled back up tear jerkers.
100%.
And then, so
Wow.
walk all this in, you know, at 12 years old, go past the ushers, whatever, they take my ticket. Then once we get into, it's also like a big theater, a wide hallway. And like Paula and I are so excited. And there's these two guys like that we're all just like messing around and like hitting each other and stuff. And then we realize the movie is like in the very last theater at the very end. So we're like, that's awesome. And they're like, race you. So then we just start running with all that shit. I completely slip over my feet. Icy noodles, yogurt everywhere.
Oh,
God.
Disgusting. Just
Oh.
disgusting. All the garbage I had.
And you definitely did not clean that up. That was a
No.
theater employee.
they were out there to
that had
handle.
clean
Yeah.
up that mess that you just
Disgusting mess.
that shouldn't have been in theater in the first fucking place.
No.
But you know, if not for just somebody who was just at corporate, who just didn't understand how the world worked. So
And tear jerkers with all of that food too. That's a gum.
Ugh.
That's what I forgot about. Like tear jerkers were my go-to at Mr. Bulky. I would always get tear jerkers. And when I was thinking about that today, because I thought of Mr. Bulky when you said, oh, maybe we'll talk about War Parkway too. I thought, oh my gosh, Mr. Bulky, 100%. I got tear jerkers. And then I remembered their gum. I would get a bag of them for a movie. So that means I was just chewing it up until the flavor was gone. And somehow like adding to it, either that or I was like passing it to a napkin and starting a new wad. Like,
But wait. Remember, okay, if you ate gum and then you drank icy and it sort of like froze the gum, you could extract more sugar out of the
right,
gum.
I did do that.
Did you ever do that?
I ate ice with the gum.
Yeah, right. And so it made the gum
Whoa.
hard. And
I
then,
did.
yeah, this is a trick.
I did that.
And it's when the sugar is out, it's like kind of like the layer. Yeah, you put some ice in your mouth, you sort of like chomp it all together, and it freezes the gum, and it's sweet again. It's, I mean,
Oh my
that
God.
I did that.
I'm assuming, Jack, that was your strategy.
I didn't know what I was doing, but I did that for some reason.
But you
I
did
would
it.
eat the
Yeah,
ice, and
yeah.
I'd be like, "Oh,
We
it's
just
hardening up.
intuitively knew it as
Perfect."
human beings. Yeah,
You
we
know,
sort of intuitively know these things
just like enhanced it, I guess.
as theater animals.
Mhm.
I'm impressed, Jack, that, and I actually don't know if I believe you, although I think I'm more trash. I'm trashier than you are. But when you were just telling the tearjerker story, I was waiting for you to be like, I can't believe I was just bought this bag of gum and then I was eating them until the flavor was gone and then I was disposing them because I was definitely swallowing.
You. I mean, maybe I was too, if I'm being honest.
I think you were.
Oh, you were eating gum.
When I think back to
we
tearjerkers,
all ate gum.
especially, I remember eating them like any
Yeah.
candy. I couldn't stop because they
Yes.
didn't last that long, and I wanted the tearjerker flavor. So, I mean, maybe I was just swallowing them,
I think we
which is
all
beyond
were.
because these bags were as big as like a
We didn't-
man's stomach. You know?
Yeah, we didn't. But see, that's the thing. It's like we were smart enough that we didn't buy the bullshit that like gum was gonna stay in your stomach for 7 years, right?
Right.
You just
It is
you
bullshit,
Didn't, you
right?
didn't. Yeah, it is bullshit. It's
Okay.
bullshit. You know?
Okay.
Good to know.
Yes, Jack, it is bullshit. You're like
Good
just
to
throw
know.
caution to the wind. Yeah,
I
like,
can
I'm gonna-
resume again.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what was like a funny little section of Bulkies was, I mean, at our age, we were always going over to the area of like tearjerkers and gummy worms and gummy bears, whatever. But there was like every so often I would go buy one of those like giant coconut haystacks or whatever, like a big chocolate.
Right. Yeah.
like, I mean, they couldn't have been making much money on that area of nut clusters. Or
Oh, I
like-
never went for that. I was gummy through and through.
that wasn't
And that
that
giant
wasn't for us.
gobstopper.
That wasn't
Did
for
you
us.
do
That was.
that?
Oh my God!
Disgusting.
Did you
And I would
actually finish
keep
it?
No,
Yes, that's
I would
Oh,
so
keep
gross.
it.
Kept it?
You keep it
Oh
in
my
a baggie
God.
and in my room, and my
Oh,
tongue would
Jack.
bleed like
Oh.
days after because you can't stop.
How long would it take you to get through? Because it was like the size of a baseball, right?
It was absolutely.
It was like it was like a
disgusting.
gobstopper the size of a baseball. So
and it
what,
was
A
how would you
jawbreaker.
even?
It
How
was
would
completely
yeah,
slime.
jawbreaker? Yeah. How would you even eat it? Like what was the process?
You can't bite it. So you
Right,
would just
what were you doing? You're just
lick it
like
down.
licking in the theater like a cat.
Yeah.
Like you're just licking, like
And then it starts to
Just-
get concave, and you keep
Yes.
like going after it. And like
I do not believe you.
at the
I don't
very
think
end, you
anybody
start
ever bought
chomping
any
it.
of those.
Oh, I 100% did. And I
You
had
did?
bloody tongue. I ran into this problem many times. And it would start bleeding.
Bloody
I gotta
tongue.
stop.
You
Yes.
licked a fucking like jawbreaker until your tongue was bloody.
And kept this soggy, sloppy piece of candy that I licked on for hours in a baggie and then pull it out of the baggie and start licking
So
on
when
it
you-
again.
So when you're on your way to Roscoe's video
right.
TV,
You
you're
couldn't-
like,
Oh,
it would last
you know what,
a week or more.
Jack, bring your gobstopper to the video store.
They were just so
What
compelling
makes-
because they were so big.
They were huge.
but
Yeah.
what
They were
makes me-
intimidating.
I probably did it and like only during the theater, but probably didn't take it home. But I know what Jack's talking about. I've seen it. What is so disgusting to me is that you're you're in the theater and you're doing that. But then there had to be a moment, because there's no way, like, as a kid, like, the next time you're going to see a movie is just the next weekend. Like, if it's during the school year, you're definitely not seeing it during the week, or it's another week goes by. So there's no way you have enough self-discipline not to eat on that thing. So you were probably alone in your room.
Yeah.
You're eating it the whole time.
I was.
Just like licking that fucking gobstopper.
My baggie would crinkle out at night, and I just be like by myself. It's not like I had a TV in my room or something. I was just sitting there.
A little jawbreaker addicts.
Licking on this thing. The thing about it was,
oh my god,
I'm trying to rationalize this. In the center, as you move down, it becomes sour, and that's where I'm like, the very center is a sour ball, and so when you start to really go after it, like, you're trying to.
You
get
really felt accomplished at that point.
The good
like
stuff.
You just were like, I've defeated it.
You rarely do, though. You rarely finish it. After a while, it becomes
didn't you just like break it? I mean, wouldn't you just break it at a certain point? Didn't it just sort of, like, you're just like, fuck this, and then
it would become like a bowl, a little bowl, and then you could start.
No.
And then you could start.
Oh my god!
You could break down and chew it up.
Bowl.
A bowl of saliva.
Right.
Ugh.
It's bad. It's bad.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not into it anymore.
Are there any other places in Ward Parkway that you guys that were just like a must stop?
Suncoast Video.
Oh yeah.
Suncoast Video.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, that was like the place, besides Mr. Bulky's, you'd go and you'd see the movie, and then you'd go over to Suncoast Video. And Suncoast Video
movies was how cool.
Yeah, you were buying VHS, you were buying DVD, but they had the gear. They had the posters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they had all that other shit. And they actually had some like, fairly like I would say like out of the ordinary movies too, So, and they had games too. They had like some like movie themed games, right? So they were all about movies. And so like that was my kind of go-to.
Were they upstairs or downstairs?
I believe upstairs.
I think they were downstairs.
I can't remember.
I know that they were upstairs though at some point. I'm almost positive because Mr. Bulky's moved into like the place that they were in. Mr. Bulky's, what happened downstairs is all of it got converted. Like it was Ward Parkway 17, right? And like all of those, they all got kicked out from downstairs, and then they got pushed up. So I'm almost positive Suncoast was upstairs.
Bulky's moved.
I could be wrong.
Bulky's moved into Music Land or Music World.
That's
Tape
right.
World. Yeah. And Suncoast, I remember.
It was Music Land.
Music Land Suncoast was downstairs and felt a little more like off the beaten path.
Right. Actually, when you said when you went, actually earlier when you were saying like, and we went downstairs and like I did think Suncoast, but then I was like, oh, well, Mr. Bulky's was down. You guys knew that, so like that's why I was thinking it wasn't downstairs. But that's ringing a bell. That's a good duo though, Mr. Bulky's and Suncoast downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
You get a little ride down, get your stuff, ride back up,
buy the movie you just saw.
Yep, exactly.
Jack, were there any places you had to pop into?
I would say probably one of the more influential places that I would like obsess over was I was terribly insecure. I was dying to be cool. And I would go, do you guys remember the store Craze?
Yes, it was,
the poster store? And like the naughty card store?
Yes, it was like a Spencer's, but
okay.
Yes.
It was called
like
Craze.
The off-brand Spencer's. It was the off-brand Spencer's. It wasn't.
I don't know what Spencer's is though.
Spencer's is like it's the same deal.
Okay. Yeah. Because it had like really naughty cards. I couldn't go in there as a kid anyway, but I would and like look at these cards, that has like some sort of like muscle man on there. And it's like, happy birthday, bestie. Here's a beefcake for your party or something. Do you remember those kind of cards? Like,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
anyway, they
yeah.
had posters. And Heidi, you know this. I am a moron when it comes to sports. I never followed sports as a kid, but I was like closeted and trying to be cool in every way. So I went and I got a Michael Jordan License to Jam poster that I hung in my room. I had no idea, about anything. I don't know. I still, other than the documentary, now I know, like I was out of the loop. And then I got the Christian Okoye Nigerian Nightmare poster.
Yes.
You know that poster?
Oh,
And I was
it's
like,
incredible.
and I know. And when I bought it, I was like, this is my ticket. All of the guys are going to think I like know what I'm talking about. I was the first to get the Nigerian Nightmare poster at Craze. And
That was a strategy.
Formative memory for me. And like, I
That
felt
was
like
a good
I had made
strategy.
it. Mhm.
Yeah, that was a good strategy because Christian Okoye was the biggest man in the history of the NFL. It felt like,
And
besides
he had
like
the Freddy
Refrigerator
Krueger
Perry.
hands. Like, what a perfect
Yes.
mashup. It was
Yes.
Oh,
perfect.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
He had
That's right.
shredded
That
the
one.
He had shredded the footballs. He had
Yes.
Freddy Krueger hands, and it said the
Ugh.
Nigerian Nightmare.
But remember, okay, so but then I don't think he had his shoulder pads in on that one. But remember when
Can't
he
remember.
actually Christian Okoye had his shoulder pads? They were up to here.
Yeah.
They were like
Uh-huh.
insane, and he was a running back. He looked like he should be like on the
And I had
offensive
no idea about any
line.
of this. I just
I
thought
know,
the
but it was-
poster was cool. I was like,
But it was
he's-
great. It was a
You
great
had-
strategy.
You had such good taste though, because for you to
I
get
know.
Nigerian Nightmare and License to Jam,
And License to Jam.
I'm sure you tricked all the other boys. Like they were like,
I
"Whoa,
did.
dude knows
Oh.
sports."
Only now
Yeah.
am I like, hey, I knew what I was doing. Like, that
Yeah.
was totally cool. These are wicked cool posters. I wish I still had them.
Same here. I wish I want them.
Yeah.
It's funny because earlier in the show, I was going to ask you what your bedroom looked like around that time, and now I know that you had.
Beastie Boys,
Ugh.
License to Jam,
Great.
Christian Okoye, all these posters of things that I actually didn't love, but that I was like dying to like blast out to everybody,
You
So.
said a cool scene.
I was. I mean,
That's
now
a good
they're all
one.
cool. Like, I was
Yeah.
They're
legit.
still cool. They're still cool.
I know myself so well that I will absolutely be on Etsy and eBay right after this looking for a Nigerian.
I know.
poster.
And if you're wondering
100%.
where Craze is in the mall, it was down on the bottom level, but more towards the Cinnabon. There's that
Yes.
second elevator that had the elevator between it that they turned into a Cinnabon between the two escalators. Does that ring a
Yes.
bell?
Yes, so I know what you're talking about now because
was right across.
I have forever been like, there was a store down there that
Mhm.
had a lot of like, I almost wanted to call it like a surplus store just because there was a lot of random shit. And I see kind of like blue and glowy and like
Neon lights. It had a neon
And-
light that said Craze.
Yeah.
And pink neon lights. And it was
Oh wow. Yeah.
I think
yeah,
it was
yeah.
like tilted, very like 90s.
Was it
early
really
90s.
bright inside? Was it bright inside?
Yeah, and it was like kind of glassy and it.
Yeah.
It wasn't
So
a
it was
junky
the opposite
store.
of Spencer. It was the opposite of Spencer's because Spencer's was dark, right? Remember Spencer's Gifts? That was like dark. I think I
Yeah.
remember that. It was
Mhm.
like the white paneling, with the hooks, right? And it was
Yes.
very
Yes, it was.
cheap. And it was like the blue and pink, and but it was like
and it had like
bright.
the Hulk Hogan punching bag and like a Dolly
Yeah.
Parton something or other, like really.
right. It was a pop
Quir-
culture store.
Yes,
It
it
was
was
a
a
pop culture
quirky
store.
pop culture store. Exactly right.
Yeah. This mall was like full of for a while. It had so many different iterations, but for a while it had so many good stores. But I just do want to say that one of the stores towards the back of there were always these two rando stores towards the back of the first floor. There was the nurse's scrub store,
Right.
and then there was Gary Gribble's running gear or whatever.
Still there. Still
Yes.
there.
No, it's
But those-
bigger. It's bigger now.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
it's
And it's lasted.
It's like
still
a
in
main
work right
tenant. Yeah.
Yeah, it lasted longer than I think there was a Wilson's Leather for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, it is in the Wilson's Leather old store. The Wilson's Leather store was like a bigger store. Gary
uh-huh.
Gibbons is there now.
Okay. My
Yeah.
God. Well,
My
well,
God.
My
my
God.
props to Gary Gribbles.
He's still around.
People love to run. People
They'll
love
give
to
you a good
run.
fit if you go in there. That's the whole catch.
Yes.
Yep.
And you just don't get that when you're a kid because who wants
You
a
don't.
good fit running shoe?
No, I
when
would
you're
be
a
at Foot Locker. Yeah.
Yes. It's
Which
just-
was right next door. Foot Locker
Like,
was right there too. It was right
Dying
next
to get the
Wilson's Leather.
pumps. Yeah, I never got
Yes.
them.
because that goes with license to jam. I mean, yeah.
I thought they would actually help me.
I think you had a good ruse going.
I did.
Yeah.
It was good.
Well, that was all in the past, which is so fun. My favorite thing in the world to look back on with my friends and family. But at the end of the show, we always like to bring things up to date with a segment we call That's So Raven. Where we talk about what we're into now, what we're currently obsessed with, what's on our mind, something that we would recommend other people get into as well. So Jack, do you have a That's So Raven?
So my That's So Raven, now that I'm fully myself and I can like pursue my own interests as an adult, I'm starting over with a lot of things that I would have liked as a child. Now that I've told you about all of these like cover stories that I developed, I recently in the past year, I guess through the pandemic, my sister-in-law got us into anime. And
Whoa.
I know. And she got us into 2 shows. We watched Banana Fish and then Attack on Titan. As geeky and cheesy as they sound, they were totally up my aisle. Had I only watched them as a young child, I could be fulfilled. But like these shows are really, really good. And I've been thoroughly enjoying them.
Ooh, I know Zeb's watched Attack on Titan, and so I've like walked through the room and been like, "That looks cool."
It's messed up. It is so good though.
But I've never seen Banana Fish.
Banana Fish is another good one. It's really, really good. I mean, I'm getting into all this stuff. It's all new to me. I never had watched anime before. And now, I could call myself a fan, maybe. Okay, then I also watched Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is like super wild. It's like a trip.
Doesn't that have the like bad guy who kind of looks like he has spiky like?
Wow, it is beyond. There isn't even one bad guy. This thing is like inside the mind of somebody who's truly insane, and they draw it all out in this animated thing. It's so crazy. I don't know if I can recommend it because it was beyond like comprehension, but certainly was a visual masterpiece.
Have you seen Akira?
No.
Okay, so
these are only 3. I'm only
see-
3 in.
Okay, so you need to see Akira.
Okay.
You need to see Perfect Blue. You need to see Metropolis. And
So you're in on this. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but not the TV shows. What you're talking about are really the TV shows, and these are more movies. And then I think that you would really like Miyazaki.
Yes, I've seen that Spirited Away.
Okay, good. Yeah,
I saw that back when it came out. Yeah,
it's adjacent to like anime because I think it's just its own thing. I feel like Miyazaki's its own thing, But yeah, those 3. Oh, and did I say Ghost in the Shell? No, Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, the original. Like that is like an OG anime like killer. So Akira and Ghost in the Shell, those were like some old school stuff. But Akira is it's insane. The amount of detail that Akira has is amazing. It's so cool.
It's all way more. It's much fuller than I thought when I thought about anime. So yeah, it's been really fun.
It's like a religion. I mean, it's like they take it seriously over there. Like so they're not fucking around. When they animate it.
Mm-hmm.
That's so Raven.
So that's my So Raven. And the other thing I was gonna say is, and Heidi, I told you about this. If I had to pick 2. Something like that, and then an object, it would be I'm now really into Little Debbie cakes. The zebra cakes, frozen.
Zebra cakes.
Frozen.
Freeze them.
Whoa.
Just anybody listening to this, freeze them, eat them the next night. They
blew my mind.
Out of this world. They're not hard. They stay soft. It's like eating a frozen wedding cake. It is absolute heaven.
You're gonna start a revolution.
They're back.
Frozen zebra
Lil
cakes.
Deb is back.
Little Debbie is going to put their zebra cakes in the freezer section now.
They should.
That's how big of a revelation that is.
They're
This is
so good.
I can taste it right now. It's perfect.
A
I'm
frozen
so
Swiss
excited
cake
about
roll
this.
sold.
Ooh,
Ugh,
Mhm.
that's so good. That's so Raven.
that's so Raven.
It is.
That's
That's
so
so
Raven.
Raven.
Yep, that's me.
Justin, what's yours?
You know what's so Raven? Going to see a movie in a theater.
Whoa. Yeah.
Hey,
I haven't
You tried
welcome
it yet.
back. Well, I did it when I was in New York when I
Oh, right.
brought mom to
Yeah.
the Elon show just to, and I mean, that was New York, but in Kansas City, like, people have been, well, there was only really one theater that was open, but I mean, like,
Right.
there are actual movies that like, are coming out. Oh, hey, Tweaky. Or is that Cubby? That's Cubby. I think we heard Cubby earlier.
Yeah, I heard that.
For the people listening, Cubby is now draped over Heidi's shoulders. just decided to join the podcast. She has some things
She
to
really
say.
is.
She's
really
inspecting
cute.
the
She's
microphone.
Up to the mic.
That's right.
Oh,
Oh, this is
my
adorable.
God.
This is why you need to watch the YouTube show, because this is fucking gold.
But
Look
I
at
do
her.
have full claws in my back. But I
Oh,
can't.
of course you do. So first going to see a movie in the theater, and then have you guys heard what's happening with AMC right now as far as like their stock and
Oh,
like
yeah.
what's okay? So like, have you heard about this, Heidi?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so back in January there was that big huge thing about GameStop, right? And like stonks, remember stonks?
Oh, yeah.
And like GameStop to the moon, right? And like, so basically what was happening is like, there's a thing called short selling. And like when Wall Street, big hedge firms think that like a business is going to fail, they say, I think that stocks is going to drop. So they buy what's called a short option. Now, the problem though is that if enough of these people see other people buying shorts, enough of these firms, they'll be like, oh, let's keep buying it. And sometimes they can like put people out of business. I think that's actually how Blockbuster got driven out of business, is they kept on shorting, and then nobody wanted to give Blockbuster money. And that happened like right after the financial crisis. So I might be wrong
Mhm.
about that, but I think that that's true. Anyway, so AMC obviously like was in pretty dire straits like during the pandemic, because New York and LA were just completely shut down. And so they kept shorting. And then like, all these studios like Disney would put, like Mulan on streaming, right? And Warner Brothers and HBO Max, right? It's like, oh, we're going to show Dune, on HBO Max. And like, it's not going to be coming out or it's going to come out simultaneously, right? So that really, really cuts into the theater's profit. Well, people on Twitter and Reddit decided, no, fuck that. Like,
We're buying.
we
them.
love these companies. We're going to buy these fucking stocks. And the problem, and the great thing about it is like, they're just buying. And like at a certain point, if somebody shorts it, they're betting that the stock's going to go down. But if it doesn't go down, if it goes up, that then costs a lot of money. Right. And they have to like make sure that they're buying stock to cover their shorts. Right. That's what it's known as, covering
Which
your
drives the price up even further.
Exactly, because they have to keep buying. So what happened in January, GameStop. Well, AMC was kind of like the little brother during that time. GameStop was the one that went, well, right now, AMC is the big brother. And it's the one like sort of like that's like getting the most attention. And so on Twitter, people call themselves apes, like AMC apes. And as you know that I used to work for AMC theaters, and like I'm not like a huge fan of them anymore. But I will say that their CEO is going on all these YouTube shows and talking to these streamers, and I am just obsessed because he just is playing the game perfectly, and he is really rallying the apes. He calls them apes. He's like, he just is into the nomenclature, and it's great. It's great to see like the little guy make some money. And so going back to the theater to see movies is so Raven.
Yes.
And
Very.
retail investors fucking over hedge funds who have shorted the AMC stock because they wanted to drive it out of business to make money. That's pretty Raven too. So those are my That's So Ravens.
Those are great.
Heidi, do you have something that is so Raven?
Yes, I have something
Okay.
so Raven. This is the second time I've seen it. I went back yesterday to go see it with a friend. Here in New York at the Intrepid Museum, there's a space shuttle.
Whoa. Like a
It's
full space shuttle.
So it's the Enterprise, which was a test space shuttle that they basically tested like the flying aspect of it and the landing. So it
okay.
never went to space, but it's the same size, everything.
The same shape. Okay.
Yes. And the size, it's just like, because I didn't realize, obviously growing up, I always heard about the space shuttle. I didn't really get the physics of it. I just didn't realize that it's a giant plane, basically. I'm so used to seeing just the rockets,
Mm-hmm.
So I just can't believe there was like this plane basically that big going into space, and it really is just a modern marvel. And the first time I saw it, I was in awe of it. And it's like suspended kind of from the ceiling. So you can be under it.
Oh, yeah.
And it has all the like heat shields that like would have to like withstand all this heat. And
Mm-hmm.
it's
Do they
just
let you
breathtaking.
inside of it, or do you just get to
No.
ogle it from above and below?
No, yeah.
No, hopefully I can send pictures so we can put it in this video. But like you can be like right up to the nose of it basically, which is crazy. And you can see the little cockpit, and like I was just imagining the people piloting these. Like how brave.
Yeah.
How brave.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How brave. But it's just really cool because the Intrepid Museum has all these old planes, and they have submarines and ships. And then it's just so cool that then just way in the back is a space shuttle. So
That's a big win for them.
Yes. And I really recommend it. I took a friend of mine who was in town yesterday who loves space, and she's been texting me all day how she can't stop thinking about.
Wait. Who's the friend?
Yeah.
My friend Rashida.
Rashida.
Yeah.
We have to have her on the show soon.
We absolutely.
you guys
she loves
do.
you, Justin.
I love Rashida. Like
Yeah.
I do too.
I cannot. That is gonna. Jack. This is a great show. I love this show, but the show, the Rashida show, is going to be like the show.
Yeah.
She's pure
She's
bliss.
going to be great.
Pure
bliss.
It's amazing.
What was also so cute about her was I was so excited to take her to go see this because she loves space so much. She loves that like humans are doing things for other humans. Like, I mean, she just like thinks that's so cool. Like people are being brave enough for us down here, So I'm so excited for her to see it. I keep on telling her, I'm like, you are not going to believe how big it is. You are not going to believe how big it is. So we roll in. Rashida's just like walking. She's just like looking around. The second you get in there, you're right under the space shuttle. Like it's right there. She's like, but there's like little side displays that are literally just like pictures from like the time that are like in the year, 1985. And so she's like looking at that. She's like, whoa, look at that. She's just looking at all these pictures, and I'm just waiting for her to just like glance up and see an actual. She just never. So she just kept on looking at all the like the little details of everything. And finally I was like, Rashida, look to your left. And I mean, you just see her. It was so cute. It was like I was there. Yeah. With like a little kid. It was the sweetest thing I ever saw.
That is so awesome.
That's amazing.
Oh, and then I made her try. She'd never had space ice cream.
Oh gosh.
Oh, nice. That chalky.
She spit it out.
Like Dippin' Dots.
It's not good.
Mm-mm.
It's not good.
I like
it's
it.
not.
I don't think it's good.
You're wrong, but that's fine.
But I've had it before for sure. It's a gimmick, and I'm like, yes, that's
Every
what I
every
want.
kid has had space ice cream.
Mhm.
How can you not have space ice cream? I mean, come on. Like,
Right.
do you want space ice cream or do you not want space ice cream? As a child, the answer is going to 100%
100%.
times be yes.
Yeah.
And
Because
then
ice cream's
you,
cool and space is cool. So it's like there's
but
something
space
with
ice
both.
cream,
Yeah.
they just sort of cancel each other out because space ice cream is not cool. It's a block of fucking flavored styrofoam.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
I know.
everybody thought it
I'm
was
glad that
cool.
you love it. I'm glad that you love it. I'm glad that you love it. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate
welcome.
that.
Well, that's so Raven.
We've come to the end. That's
Well, I mean, but is it the end? Is it the end?
Well, it's not totally.
It's
the
not totally the
conversation
end.
will go on.
Okay. So, but just to let you know, like, the segment that we did last week, 75 questions with Andrew Dismukes, we had a little discussion, and we're no longer going to be doing that segment because Andrew just didn't want to come back and answer 3 questions. So,
He wanted to do 75 every.
He wanted to do 75 every single time, and I still think that is an idea that like has legs, but unfortunately, that just wasn't able to be. Yeah, I just like it just.
I think
didn't
it'd
give
be
me a
just
chance
such
to
a long podcast to do a full. Like right now, we're at an hour and a half, and then to ask someone 75 questions.
Right.
I mean,
maybe
it just
depends on
just
the
motor through them.
topics.
I mean, I had 75 questions to ask, but
I know
it's
you
like,
did, yeah.
Yeah, and they were good ones. They were good ones, but we don't have a chance to do that. But like, I don't really have anything. So like, what I figured we would do is, we're recording these beforehand, and I don't know if this is going to line up exactly, but Heidi's birthday is in July, and Jack, I think we should sing "Happy Birthday" to Heidi.
Oh yeah,
because
so
like.
Sweet.
Yeah. So here's the deal.
Okay.
I'll start, right? On 1, 2, and on 3, we'll launch into it. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday. You know what? Hold on. I'm sorry.
We're off.
Sorry, Jack. Like, yeah, we're off. But I'm gonna add. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna add something.
Oh my God.
Oh my.
He left, for those listening, he actually left the camera, so he's really gonna ask. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
I've never known you to play
and as
guitar.
if I can sing here.
Right. Okay. So, we'll do it again. Okay. So like 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
Ooh.
Happy birthday to you.
Wow.
Actually, I'm sorry. Like this. I got to fix something. Let me fix one more thing.
Okay. He's gonna leave the screen again.
He's going all out.
Yeah, this is really. I didn't know this was happening.
I didn't either.
I didn't know he was a guitar player. He's really good at guitar.
He must be getting something even bigger. Oh. Is that the what the
Drew!
Hi, Heidi. How are you?
God! Oh my God, Drew!
So nice to see you.
This is my second time
Wow.
having you sing for me on my birthday.
Well, let's try it again. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm gonna.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Heidi. Happy birthday to you. What do you think?
Oh my God.
Thank you. Would you like to hear
so-
another one?
I would love to. Yes.
That's like an encore.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Any song?
You have a request?
Okay. There is a song of yours that I sing a lot in my head all the time.
Okay.
It's the one where you go, I understand you don't want to be alone. You know which one I'm talking about?
Oh, wow. Yeah. But that's not the one I was going to do. That's awesome, though. I haven't played that one in a long time.
Do the other one. I just want to give you props on that.
Do you remember the one about, that's good. I like it. Do you remember the one about the boyfriend?
Everything about you turns me on. Yes, I remember that one. I would love to hear that.
Justin, you remember the agreement? Yeah.
Oh.
And what about the green room? I said, no blue Sour Patch Kids.
I'm sorry.
And what's the deal with the Betamax and the Roscoe's video?
We'll do better next time.
More? All right. Sorry. I'm with you.
Okay,
Let's try
great.
this. So this song's kind of evolved a little bit.
Ooh,
You'll get back
okay,
to
I'm
the hook and
excited.
it'll all come back. You ready for this? Okay.
Yes.
Here we go. I got one here now. Shake it, you got it. Shake it, you got it. Like your short shorts, tall boots, your tan legs, and country roots. The way you dance up close to the stage. I like your concert t-shirt, your hair flipping when you flirt.
Wow.
Girl, you really light up this place. I dig that cotton candy perfume, your hips swaying across the room. Come and get me a smile on your face. Well, I call you a perfect work of art. Everyone for just one part. I'm gonna say it right now. Everything about you turns me on, except your boyfriend. We could be leaving this bar alone without your boyfriend. Well, I think I would like to take you home, but not your boyfriend. He's a slick back, cocky walking in your face, trash talking, money flashing son of a gun. Well, he keeps on yelling free bird, but I don't think he's ever heard a single song that Skinner has done. He's got his hands all over you, showing us who's who, trying to ruin all of your fun. Oh no, he better not tip over my beer with all his strutting around up here. Let's say it one more time. I said, everything about you turns me on, except your boyfriend. We could be leaving this bar alone without your boyfriend. Well, I think I would like to take you home, but not your boyfriend. There you go.
Wow.
Oh my God.
So,
it got
yeah,
better.
well, thank you. I hope I'm a better songwriter. So would you like to hear one more, like another encore?
No. Come on.
Just one more?
I don't know.
Oh, well, what about my validation for my car?
Keep that cash flowing. Wow.
Oh my God. I did not know that was going to happen. I mean, how could I have ever known? Thank you.
Happy birthday!
That was good, Justin.
That was incredible.
Oh, okay. So we did a little bit there, but like Drew, come back here. Seriously. We planned this for how long? Like about a week and a half?
Yeah, a little while.
Yeah.
I was really surprised to hear that. Well, to hear from him, and then also to hear that you remembered me.
Oh my God.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
I love you, Drew.
Yeah.
Oh my
She said, "I
gosh.
love
We
you,
used
Drew."
Oh, I can read her
Yes.
lips.
Okay.
I'm hearing what I
cool.
want to hear. Thank you, Heidi.
Oh,
Just so you know, there's not a green room.
Well, no, he came here earlier. He's been sitting there for an hour and a half, just hanging out
Wow.
for this.
thank you.
So- And he was like, he said, well, do you think she's gonna remember me? I'm like, oh yeah, she's gonna remember you.
Yes.
Like, of course she's
Yes.
gonna remember you. Yeah.
Yes.
So Thank you so much.
My
This
pleasure.
was better than I ever could have planned. So
I mean, tell him that deep cut song that I always sing that all the time.
she always sings the deep cut
Oh
song.
yeah, so I'm gonna rework that one now.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I understand you don't. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Hilarious.
Well, that was a very special where we were when.
It really was. It was so Kansas City. Thank you so
That
much,
was
Right?
really
Jack.
fun. Thank you guys for
Thank
having
you,
me. That
Jack.
was really
You
fun.
guys took me back.
That's amazing.
Right.
Very Kansas City.
And Drew, that's actually what we should say. That's so Raven. Drew, he's an artist in Kansas City that
Drew6.com. Drew6.com.
Drew6.com. He's
Yeah. DREWSIX.com. He just recorded a song in Nashville for what is it? Dream Factory that's going to be nationally played. So he just got back into the studio because the pandemic is, thankfully people are vaccinated and whatnot. So yeah, he just and that rocked.
that
Like,
was
that was
incredible.
awesome. That was so good. That was so much
Two
better
songs,
than
too.
yeah. So
He played at my 16th birthday, and now I just got it at another birthday. Thank you so much.
who brought him in for your 16th birthday?
You, Mom, and Paula Heschmeyer,
That's right.
Oh, wow.
who I mentioned tonight. So
Yeah.
this
Earlier,
is very
yeah.
full circle. This is very cool.
Very full circle. Yeah. So
All right. Thank you
Happy
guys so
birthday.
much for listening
Yeah.
to Where We Were When. We will see you soon. Bye.
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 We've got some spicy movies.
Yeah, we've got not only spicy Where We Were When movies, but just effed up movies.
That were really they were targeted towards children, kind of.
But also, I want to say these movies are weird, but they changed my life.
Hey guys, I'm here to film my segment, 75 Questions with Andrew Dismukes. Been waiting a few minutes now and haven't heard from you guys. You said to get on the Zoom at this time, and maybe I got the time wrong. I don't think I did, but maybe. So just let me know. I've sent you some texts to just check in with you guys, but I'll just wait. I got plenty of time, so I'll just, give it a couple hours, and then if you're not here, I'll just get out of here. But until then, I'm chilling. All right. Anyway.